Connor Minty, welcome to the Your PT podcast.
Thanks for having me. It's an absolute pleasure.
It's brilliant to have you in the seat. I'm really excited about today, mainly due to the fact of how many times you're going to hit your microphone. But
I'm definitely doing that, and I am definitely hitting that mic.
But also, we've known each other for a couple of years.
We've shot a Guinness.
Yeah, we've done a few of them. But you're just, super personality. This podcast is aimed directly at personal trainers. You've been in the game for a long time, and I'm really looking forward to just peeling some of the layers back today.
Lovely.
And just finding out a bit more, because although we know each other on a personal level, on a business level, we've never worked together. So I'm excited.
I kind of am now. I'm doing a bit for you with the assessing stuff now, aren't I? So I'm sending my work and stuff off now and stuff like that, getting it approved by good old Kev. So that's coming in now as well. I'm at that point now. So that's going really well as well. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, no, of course. So the Your Academy side, the tutor, the assessing side of it.
That side of it, yeah.
But from a gym perspective, we've never directly worked together. But we've got some crossover, we've got some history with David Lloyd.
We got a lot in common.
100%. So, I mean, today's session, really, Connor, I want to touch on probably 4 key areas. So the first one is around your transition from commercial gyms to being self-employed, which is a journey a lot of PTs go on.
I think so, yeah.
And it can be daunting. So we'll touch on that. The other one is I really want to kind of get your input from the gym that you're currently based at as well, the Ware-House in Swansea, which is famous now.
It's so good. It's massive. It's 3 units over now. It's brilliant.
Yeah. How many years has it been open?
Coming up to his 4th, I believe now.
Okay.
4th.
Okay. So I
last summer, 3rd year.
Okay. I want to touch on that because I want to talk a little bit about how environment affects your growth and development as a PT as well. So we'll look at that, and then I'm going to put a bit of a twist on this one today. I want to look at kind of any dark days in the industry as well. So any challenges you've had as a self-employed personal trainer that you've had to overcome.
Okay.
And then just general tips for generating clients at the end. So there's 4 key areas that I'd like to explore with you today, mate.
Interview of a lifetime, James. Interview of a lifetime.
We'll see. We will see. But let's start with you, Connor. So how did you land in the industry? Where did you start? Where are you now?
Well, I suppose I started boxing as a kid. Found my footing straight away with that. Straight away. Really busy kid. And it just helped me zone in on stuff. It made me use my brain a bit more. I was more of a boxer than a brawler, you could say. So being a southpaw and stuff, I really had to think tactical. And as I got older, I started going into my schoolwork and stuff. And I just followed the path. I did 10 weeks work as part of my degree with Challenger Sports in America.
Okay.
I came back, looked down the personal training route, and I got a job off that back, actually, because I don't know if you remember him, Di Richards?
Rings a bell.
Rings a bell. He was looking for people to do the kids' active stuff while parents trained in a big commercial gym.
Okay.
So I had that interview and started from there, really, and did a long time there.
Yeah. So sports coaching that you kind of initially
I went in there initially as that, PT qualified as well. So what I was a PT, but they wanted me for that angle of it. They wanted me to lead that kind of thing as well as part of, right, we're going to get parents training in the gym. Let's have some classes going on and stuff for the kids, that kind of thing there. So that's initially why I think I was selected from the pile of CVs. And yeah, it was very, I would say it wasn't, the environment for it there was very tiered. Do you remember any tier systems you have there?
Yes.
And so doing the personal training, building up. I remember my first paycheck, I had 1 client.
Yeah.
Right? And when I took this client on, it was literally the 1 payment I had. I remember seeing my paycheck for 1 session.
Right.
And it was literally £7. And because I was working at Domino's, it was classed as my second job, I got taxed on it. So for my first ever paycheck for PT, I took something like £5.40 home or something.
Yeah,
you know?
It's mad, isn't it? But it shows you how devalued personal trainers can feel sometimes in certain environments.
That kind of system, you can see why there'd be a high turnover, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So your coaching experience started in like the commercial style gyms. We can mention names. So it was David Lloyd, wasn't it? Which is...
Well, it was Virgin Active when I first started. So it was a Sporter, Virgin Active, then David Lloyd. So the same building, the Glamorgan's been taken over quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, it was BP before Sporter.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I spent time there as a manager. So I spent a bit of time there in the Sporter days. Looking after the health and fitness.
I was there once a week as part of my college. I might have bumped into you.
Yeah,
we may go further back again.
We could very well, but yeah, it was ahead of its time. It was great facilities, and to this day, I think, Connor, in this area,
it's too
David
big
Lloyd.
It's too big for what it is, maybe.
Yeah, well, it's kind of the only premium sort of gym around the area, so you can see why people would go there.
Yeah,
it's got an indoor pool, it's got an outdoor pool, it's got good, suite of classes going on there, a great facility, tennis, etc. But so it's a nice environment, and it's always been a nice environment. But PT wise, starting there, how did you find sort of the starting phase, building a client base? Did you feel motivated to?
Yeah. So when I got there straight away, the FCs were all on paid hours, so you weren't getting gym shifts like you can in a lot of gyms now, right? So you can kind of work shifts, and that'll offset rent or whatever, but also you could build up in that time while you're doing it. But because I already had people on the ground running, when it came to personal training, you weren't doing the inductions, you weren't doing nothing, so it led to a lot of fast classes, to a lot of tasters. So good old-fashioned, old-school PT almost now, isn't it, where you're actually on the gym floor looking for people who you think that you can help.
Yeah.
Yeah. So... When the build-up was hard because of the tier system. You had tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5.
Yeah.
And they always sold you that you could get to 25 sessions in a certain amount of time, blah, blah. Yeah. What happened to me was I got to about 15 and Harper was born.
Okay.
So that I was stuck around 15, 20 for quite some time then,
what tier would that put you on? So
like £12 an hour for it was £12 up to in about 20 sessions, so 15 to 20 sessions.
Yeah. And
then, as she got a bit older, I started, finding my feet again and built back up to it as well then again.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So you're almost incentivized to do more volume, but in the early days, there's not much reward for the low volume that you're doing. Yeah. So you can see why personal trainers might fall out of love with that situation.
I saw it a lot. I did, if I'm honest with you. There's a staff room, and what's said in the staff room is said in the staff room.
Yeah.
But a lot of, and I would try my best to motivate people, and I really would. But when it's a high turnover, and I think it was because of that system personally. Yeah. I really do. Yeah. Because I've seen some good personal trainers leave the industry because of that.
Yeah.
Genuine.
I have. Yeah, no, I see it time and time again, and it's such a travesty, isn't it? Because we've got such a fantastic industry. A lot of people don't stay around to see the benefits of it from a long-term perspective.
I think it's because people see, especially with that, they see the 25 sessions, they see the money that maybe you could be earning, so then they're chasing that more than prioritising future development, which corporate, Virgin Active and that, they do provide that, but they got to think then, hang on, I got to get that petrol, this, that, and all that. And lost my trail of thought a little bit now.
You were talking exactly that. So you're talking about PTs falling out the industry, and not having a route kind of. So forward.
That's it. So they were focusing more on trying to get the numbers up than actually their sessions and who they're trying to help.
Yeah,
that's what I found.
Okay.
So things became a lot more numbers prioritized, a lot more salesy. With places like as well, your numbers are up on the board or the computer, that kind of thing, and you can see what other coaches are delivering. Yeah. And it's good. I thrived on that element of it, to be honest, to a certain extent, but a lot of other people didn't.
So you're in a competitive environment within your role at David Lloyd, and you're focusing on kind of, as you said, building up the volume of your sessions, not necessarily the quality.
Yeah.
And then as a result, you're losing focus on what you enjoy maybe in the industry.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, you might be taking sessions that you don't really want to be taking, that kind of thing. I saw that a lot.
Yeah.
I kept my morals, to be honest. I kept doing what I liked doing. I always preached what I've learned and stuff, and the reasons why I got into the industry. I have kept that up through the 14 years I've been doing it.
Yeah.
Genuine.
And you mentioned it earlier, Con, so you're from like sporting background, boxing being your go-to.
Yeah.
But you can't shake that competitive edge out of you. So do you think you've used that competitiveness effectively in building your business as a PT?
100%. I think a lot. I mean, I'll say this for anyone, right? You're a young kid, you got loads of energy. Boys, girls, get him into boxing. All right, get him into boxing. All right, for me, it was just defining moment after defining moment for me. So when you have that energy and you have that, I'm using my brain a bit more. I'm looking at this, I'm looking at that, and now I'm using it in a degree capacity, and I'm taking in that as a career. So I'm there with the pads in Virgin Active and David Lloyd. I'm setting up little rings and going around with clients. I'm doing some light sparring in the studio. I'm 100%. So I use that competitiveness. I am competitive, but I leave my ego at the door.
Okay, nice. But you've used the competitiveness and also your ability with boxing drills to define like a unique selling point, I guess, as well, because not everyone can do that.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Okay. So walk us through then the transition, Connor. So you're going from a commercial gym in what sounds like you were kind of in a dissatisfied situation there, but you enjoyed the industry.
Well, I built up to the 25, 30 sessions there. So when I went from my low point, I remember we were at a low point, a few personal trainers, and it was getting a bit, can I say, bitchy. And one of my managers pulled me along, and she said, listen now, you're better than all these now. I wouldn't pay this money to have training with you today. And I'm like, oh, have I really been like that? That's not me. And at the same time, a good friend of mine, Matthew Evans, he came in, and straight away I was blown away. Right, I was almost in awe of this another level of PT.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God, I want to do that. And what those commercial gyms do preach a lot is about posture, movement, that kind of thing as well, alongside the other basic stuff that comes with personal training. So, posture defects, sitting down, kyphosis, lordosis, movement patterns, all these kinds of things. And it was sessions that I seen that I was witnesses on the gym floor, seeing and being an observer and going, that's a personal trainer. That is what I want to sort of, not copy, but what would the word be?
Aspire to.
Yeah, 100%.
No, that makes a lot of sense because and sometimes you have to see it to understand what it is your goal is.
100%. So, we've had many chats about personal training, and I think iron sharpens iron, So we'd be in the staff room. I'd have a podcast on the car on the way up. I'd go, oh, we're going to talk about today, So I'd be like, fasting, for example. I'm going to just talk about fasting a little bit. I'll learn something interesting in about fasting today, And then he'd go off on one. Yeah. And I'd be there mentally just memorizing it all, because he's very, very technical.
Yeah. And I think you need that, Connor, don't you? You need to be around.
It was definitely, for me anyway, right? It was turning into this sort of mentorship under the wing thing, I think, as well. And I'm here today because of that, I think, as well.
Nice.
Thanks to him as well.
So that got you through kind of a difficult patch?
That got me through a dark patch, yeah. I think I was probably on about leaving the industry around that point myself.
Okay.
Yeah. And then he came in and I was like, okay, no.
Well, that's one of my points. So, the dealing with the dark days, because it's not all sunshine and roses, and especially when you're in some self-employed situation, you can have a lot of pressures.
What I think happens to a lot of people is they get in love with the training, they get a bug, and they go, oh my God, this is the job for me. Mm-hmm. And then they start the job, realize it's not always about yourself, it's about that person. So sometimes your own training might take a little bit of a whack when you're in the job, even though you're working in a gym. But when you've got 7, 8, 9, 10 clients in the day, they end up falling out of love with the business again because I am not doing the training enough anymore. So it's about that work-life balance, isn't it?
Yeah. And it changes over time. So like you mentioned earlier, you're building up your client base. Harper was born, your eldest.
Yeah.
And that throws a curveball as well. It maybe derails your career for a few months or a few years in some situations. So how are there any mechanisms that have helped you get back on track that you've deployed when you've been in that situation where you're doubting yourself, you're doubting the industry? What's inspired you, or what mechanisms have helped you to get back on track?
It's a good question, that, James. God, that's deep. Well, I'm a very intrinsic motivated guy. You know about the competitiveness, and I don't like to fail. I don't like to fail. If I start something, I have to finish it.
Okay.
You know, so for me, there was no other option either. So when it came to the dark days, I had to understand also that why were the dark train. I would always reflect on myself, reflect on the business that I was trying to aspire to. And don't get me wrong, most of the time, we're talking now about when I was probably going through the dark time, I didn't go through that dark time again.
Okay.
All right. So once I got out of that dark time, and I was like, no, this is my career. This is my career. This is not a job I'm just doing in my 20s. I'm going to be doing this when I'm 60.
Perfect.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, because one of the things that I have to do myself, which is what I preach, is I have to move. I'm not very good at. You see me fidgeting now with the hands, you know, and the odd tap probably, you know. So I've done the jobs I've had to sit down and stuff, you know, and I just know that wasn't for me. You know, I'm very practical, hands-on. Yeah.
Good job. Yeah, no, 100%. So it sounds to me like you kind of had a clear vision of what kind of your end point looked like, or your Everest, your optimal business looked like.
Again, you could reflect that back to Matthew again, to be fair, because of the board. You know, I'm seeing maybe when I was at my lowest, you know, dark times, 22 sessions, 19, 47. Next to my name, I'm like, I'm not having that.
Okay.
You know? Yeah. And I'm thinking, it's got to get up to 30, it's got to get up to 36, got to get up to 40 sessions. Yeah. And, you know, it's a long time to prepare for yourself for that as well, but it's a very rewarding experience. You just got to become a bit more business savvy, that's all. You've got to be yourself, especially on the gym floor. Yeah. Okay? You've got to be keeping offering those taster sessions. You've got to offer, what I find a lot of people do, or what people did do, I should say, was client finished, sit down half hour, flick through the phone, you know? Whereas you should still be on that gym floor. People like seeing an active, busy PT, I think. Yeah. Not just gym floor, back to the staff room, back to gym floor, back to staff room. They want to see you doing things. They want to see you potentially going around, and I think there's a lot. I think people don't correct people anymore in the gym, where that is your job, is to make sure that people are safe, people are getting the most out of that exercise, and that's a big bang moment as well. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think you've hit on a really good point there. Actually, I think you can't let yourself off the hook of the small tasks that you do on a daily basis. 100%. And you mentioned a great point there, Connor, around being business savvy. So when you're in a comfortable position, when you're in an employed role, you can be less business savvy because it doesn't really matter too much. Go on, sorry. When you move then into your self-employed world, where you're not chasing someone else's target, you're chasing your own targets. Let's explore that a little bit. So when did you start going self-employed, and what kind of goals did you set in the early days that were non-negotiable, that you had to hit? Okay. So I suppose I want to start that by saying I was doing quite well up to lockdown, and then obviously everything stopped. Yeah. So I was running the business quite well, but it was employed, like, you know, the tiered system, that kind of thing, and then lockdown did happen. And then I was wondering if I even had a job to go back to, because online was really, really kicking off then. Obviously people weren't able to do one-to-one then. So I remember reading a email like probably 10 years ago now, saying about, is one-to-one dead from Precision Nutrition, all right? I'm thinking, ooh, has that time come? You know, is there a bounce back from this now? Because online just went straight through. But then I think when, going ahead a little bit now, but when I did go back to the warehouse, when I went to the warehouse, I did see the need for one-to-one was really coming back. from the commercial side of it, coming over to a person as self-employed, it always felt scarier going self-employed. You almost felt like you were safe in that bubble. They literally had a bubble, if you remember. So you literally felt kind of safe in the bubble around the people you knew. And self-employed, even though I'd never look back now, it was so scary. I think you didn't have that, they did have good things in the commercial side, like the courses, etc. that you could go on. I'd done loads of CBDs, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So that element is gone, but I need to do a little bit more recon myself and find some courses that I want to do myself now. But it was just really scary. I don't know how to explain it. Yeah. In the same week, I turned 30. My son was born, and I bought an house. Right? It was super scary on the transition over to the Ware-House as well, because you need that thing with the self-employment status. So my non-negotiable was I'm never dropping below 25. 25 was in my head, right? But they kind of made it easy for me. I'll be honest. They kind of made it easy for me because lockdown. There was a bit of a restructure going on, in the Glamorgan. So I can't remember what they were charging exactly, right? But basically, long story short, we weren't on a tier system no more. We were just getting paid £15 for 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. The gym was getting 20. And they wanted us to work harder for less money. So for me, it was a matter of, okay, I'm going to jump before I'm shoved. I mean, like that for me was a non-negotiable. I've worked all this time here, and now what they also did is they took away all the academies as well that they were planning on running. Okay. So I was a bit disappointed about that. That was the reason why I stayed quite a long time, because I wanted to coach other PTs as well, whilst I was doing well. So when they took all that away, I realised just in corporate what kind of a number you can be, and how people in suits tell you to do your job when you're wearing shorts, Yeah.
There's a disconnect a lot of the time, isn't there, in corporate environments? I think you've got, people who don't really necessarily understand the gym, and then you've got the boots on the ground personal trainers who are living and breathing it every day. And often there's a misalignment in what's important, because we're very driven towards the customer experience and making sure that is effective.
Well, that was my first point as well, because going back to the point, sorry, but as personal trainers, it's kind of taught to you from the root up. It's an hour session. Most sessions are at least an hour. It's how you plan a session. Warm up, main session, cool down. It's all based about an hour. Yeah. So for me, going self-employed and already having a business, and now they've got to pay the same money for less time, I can take them over to this mega gym and go, what do you think? And they were like, yeah.
Yeah. So you identified an opportunity. So you've seen in the background the development of the gym, the launch plan. You've gone and seen the facility, and you've gone, this is an opportunity for you.
Well, I saw a client of mine in the gym, and he was like, what's the matter? And I said, I think this is it now. He said, what do you mean? I said, I think I'm going to have to find somewhere else. And he went, why don't you try the Ware-House? I went, funny enough, my manager just showed me the video of Chris doing the tour. It just opened. And I was like, oh, that looks scary. And he goes, hey, I got somebody who knows him. And that's the connections happen. I met Chris on the following Sunday.
Okay, nice, yeah, nice. So just through your network,
now what you know is got
introduced. Yeah, no, absolutely. No, similar experience to me, Connor. To be honest, when I came out of commercial gyms, it was identifying opportunity in a budget gym locally, and I thought, do you know what? I can get out of this kind of corporate structure, and I can be the master of my own destiny. I can run my own business and thrive and get what I deserve. Yeah. So it sounds like your journey was very similar. Now, with regards to the Ware-House, there's a fantastic culture, some great ethos that goes into there. And for those who don't know anything about the Ware-House, it's a super gym based in South Wales. It's very loud. It's very proud.
I fit in well.
And it's a super cool gym. It's high energy. To a degree, it's probably high performance as well. And I say that because you've got designated triathlon clubs, MMA clubs, boxing, so on and so forth. So it's very performance driven. However, you can still cater for your Mrs. Joneses who are new to the gym and they've never been to that environment before, and they'll be looked after. So moving into that new culture and that new opportunity, how important do you think that's been for you personally, Connor, in your professional development?
So I suppose, like I said, with the what I did learn from the commercial gym about posture and people, like 46% people now are sitting at a desk job, These people are the people who really need to get into the gym and get moving and active. So, yes, you've got that side of the warehouse. Of course you have. You've got some athletes there. These are some powerhouses, big names, personal trainers as well, some big, massive names there. Got respect for all of them, and when it comes then to the actual the Miss Jones, you've got 3 units. So you've got like your High Rocks area where they do all the gorilla games, the raves, and all the mental stuff kind of goes in there. And then you've got your main big gym. There's a big, if I go back to David Lloyd, when I left there was 2 squat racks. I worked for about 6 years with 1. There's 20 in the warehouse, 20 squat racks. So it makes the transition of somebody becoming a beginner client into a quite intermediate client. That it makes that if somebody's nervous of the gym, they're not in the only squat rack learning a squat. There's 20 of them. There's everybody. It's very relaxed environment in that regard as well.
Yeah.
And in terms of my own clientele, there's a stigma with the warehouse. They've Instagram, I think they had the most, out of the top 15 Instagrammable gyms in Britain. They've just won the National Gym of the Year. There's this massive stigma that you've got to look a certain way and be a certain way. I couldn't argue my case against that more. I've got clients with MS who come and train me in the gym. Yeah. I've got 70-year-olds, 66-year-olds. I've just taken on a new client now in a wheelchair, so we're going through some exercises he can do there. Yeah. And transitioning from one machine to the other if he can, that kind of thing, and that's going really well. He's doing really well. I recommend him getting an arm crank.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
For the desk. So I did a little bit of maths. If he did it for half an hour to 45 minutes intermediately, he'd burn as many calories as somebody that does 10,000 steps a day. It's about 500.
And that's a nice. That's a nice point as well, because you're looking after the lifestyle of your clients outside of the gym, which is so important for personal trainers.
Well, you only see a client for 1, 2, 3 hours, and how many hours are there in a week? Something like 160. So that factors in sleep, nutrition. All the rest of it, family life,
Yeah. All the stresses and strains
as
well.
Work itself, so.
Yeah, no, 100%. But it sounds like you've really thrived in that environment, since you've been there in the last 3 to 4 years. I couldn't have landed in a better gym if I tried. Honestly, it's amazing there. It really is. I feel like I can be me there, to be fair. Nice.
I really can be me.
Yeah, and that is the point I want to get to, really, Connor, is how important is it for a PT to select the right gym, the right environment for them? I think, arguably, it's going to be the most important thing to have a setting that fits you.
Well, one of my clients now will laugh at this now, but he was asking, because he was doing so many sessions with me, he was always asking for a boxing ring. And he knew the management would never let him have one, but he had to ask, But the moment I walked into the warehouse and there's already 2 rings there, an octagon, a massive KGB area, which is, I can't remember what it's called now.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu,
something like that, But, so when I goes, there's your ring, it's just that kind of thing just really just matched me.
Yeah.
100%. So there's a whole boxing area there where I can take clients on pads.
Yeah.
Loads of bags, that kind of thing. It's just, the funky pump classes, come on. Have you seen them? They're amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So they are, and they're renowned now for kind of the environment that it creates. It's a very community-driven facility.
That's what I'll say about the warehouse as well, to be fair. The team have been going for about 20 years themselves. And what they've created is this real community, but also this ethos almost of, listen, if you come to us and you'll never want to leave. You know, it really is. But also I think there's a certain amount of that level of trust in the team as well, that if I'm good enough to work there, people will respect that fact and go, right, Connor's good enough. I'll talk to him. He might be a personal trainer that I want to use.
Yeah.
That was one thing. There's not much very high turnover there.
Yeah.
When there's a business with a gym with a high turnover, people do not want personal training.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
You've got to look at that as a business module. If you're losing your PTs, you are doing something seriously wrong.
Yeah,
my opinion.
I think you've got to find the right talent and then keep that talent. But you know, from an operator's perspective, the last thing you want is disruption in your member service. You want continuity and the same faces and investing in those people as well.
Well, if for instance, with the corporate world, if you're locked in for 3 months and that personal trainer leaves after 2 weeks, you've got to go with somebody you didn't initially sign up with then because you're locked in. Well, if they don't, and that just ruins the whole process, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, absolutely. It does. Okay, so nowadays, day to day, what does Connor Minty's business look like? So, yeah, have you dived into any of the online coaching? Have you ever dabbled in that or not?
Not for me.
No?
I got
a people person.
I got to be on that gym floor, mate. I've just got to. I can see me being on that gym floor for another 30 years. I got to.
Yeah.
I can't see myself slowing down like that. I'm on the laptop, you know, I do a little bit, and I just want to get out there.
Yeah. And that's really interesting to hear you say that, Connor, because like perception's everything, isn't it? You mentioned perception around gym facilities, gym environments, but also perception of our industry sometimes can be skewed. So, you know, we have seen in recent years personal trainers entering the industry and thinking, oh, if I need to make it, I need to be an online coach. But they miss a big chunk then of actually being a physical coach.
Yeah.
Before they maybe, you know, land in a hybrid situation or become a full-time online coach.
What I'm seeing, and this isn't Ware-House specific, I've seen people in other gyms and they maybe do a bodybuilding show, look fantastic, get that profile picture, and then next thing you know, they're regurgitating the plans they've had from somebody else,
right.
And they're doing the post. You know, I've seen one saying, "I'm not here to be a therapist. I'm not here to be a friend. It's hardcore. You didn't last long." You know,
yeah.
But if people think that's what personal training is, somebody that can just do a show, no quals. There's a lot of danger there as well.
It's high risk.
It's high risk.
But also, there's no governance in that as well. You know, we've got governance around physical training in the UK. We've governing bodies like UK Active SIMSPA who look after the framework. There's an actual framework. You can actually purchase an insurance from a public liability perspective. But from an online perspective, it's like the Wild West. There's nothing.
There's nothing, even on nutrition, dietary, nothing.
Yeah.
Well, that says it all then, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I think it's a job of the industry to get that right, to bridge gaps and to offer pathways to education for online coaches who've gone down that route. And
the opposite side of what I've seen is, you know, young, let's call them athletes who are aspiring to be bodybuilders and fit that kind of thing. I have seen some of them then actually going into the industry to become the PT, learning from that and developing it alongside, which you can see that can be a good thing as well. And so they are doing the one-to-one stuff, and then they are going on to the online stuff as well, and it complements their business.
Yeah, I think with PT, a lot of personal trainers get to a point where they look for something else, so they naturally might look at online because there's a direct correlation with what they do day to day and what they're familiar with. And you mentioned earlier, Connor, you had aspirations in David Lloyd to do tutor and assessing.
Yeah.
And it kind of, how it's landed now with our relationship is you run a thriving PT business, but you also support your academy with training and developing new fitness professionals who are going through their level 2, level 3 qualifications. How are you getting on with that side of it?
It's really fun because when you've got people who have been the learners who have been doing the training themselves, and then you break down a deadlift to them, their head falls off. You know, because they are used, you know, like they would used to be going up to the bar, few points, make sure they look. But then when you say retract the shoulders, chest tall, you know, that kind of thing, what? And that's a lot of the job. That is, it's going through the teaching points, like baby steps, isn't it? To get to that desired outcome. Yeah. You know, so that if anything, I can be more technical because I want them to learn off me doing it.
Yeah.
So it's really fun, actually.
I love, I think it's a great example. But also, we have kind of a philosophy with your academy that only our tutors and assessors have to be practice PTs. They have to have lived in the shoes of the learner. And that I think, therefore, the education experience is a lot more relevant to what they're actually going to have to do in the industry. So it's great to sort of, you know, have you on board with that, Connor, so you can actually download a lot of your expertise and know-how.
It's really fun.
Yeah, it's
you know,
good.
I'll like when I'm going through, you show me and I show you, that kind of thing. You know, I'll say to them, like, I'm going to do it right and then I'm going to do it wrong. And I want you to see what I'm doing wrong and correct me. Yeah. You know, and that bit is really rewarding when they can see, they're going, hang on, this technique kind of looks right, but it's not. What's going on here? And it really gets them prepared for that day when they start on that gym floor, I feel. Yeah. That's how I always wanted to run it. Yeah. Like, and do it myself, you know, really did.
Yeah. I suppose the feeling of satisfaction it mirrors what you get with a client when they've achieved their result or they've made some great progress, and you see that person entering the industry, developing and building and learning, and then thriving. You're like, wow, you know, I was part of that journey. So it's super rewarding in lots of different ways.
I look at things quite long term. So, for instance, if I got 3 learners and I can get them to get 30, if they get 30 clients each all of them, how many people am I actually helping that way then? Yeah. How amazing feeling does that make for me? Amazing.
I love that. And I think there's some psychology and value in that, Connor. If you are focusing on the number of people that you can influence and not chasing a financial target, the financial element usually looks after itself.
100%. And like, I think we preach the same thing, that if you look after the industry will look after you. So you see in a lot of places, and you hear a lot of things about, oh, this personal trainer stole that person's client and all that, and it be quite bitchy in the gym and all that when that happens, as you can imagine, you know. But the way I've always seen it when a new personal trainer has come in is because, again, going back to Matthew, I realised what I needed to become. I realised that I needed maybe a bit of help at that point, really, if I'm honest with you. That I wanted to give back to that. I wanted, because I've always seen it that if you are running a great business in a business or on your own, then if you're inspiring, you know, the other day I gave a number for another personal trainer. I don't mind doing that. Nice. When a personal trainer came in the building, you know, fresh, raw, like, have you practiced your consultation skills? Like, come on, practice on me. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. And I've always done that because I see that as, if members see that you're all working together, they might want to work with you more. Yeah. I've always seen it as that. Yeah. If you look after the industry look after you, I think.
Yeah. I think you bang on the money. And you know, what's come across today really well from you, Connor, is like your passion, your energy, your love for the industry and the sector. You are extremely high energy.
We'll say that.
And I love that. I absolutely love it. But has it always been that way? Or is this something that you've had to develop over time? No.
Just I, you know, like, I could say 1 or 2 things that I think as I've been missed, you know, thing with. But I think what boxing, going back to boxing, right? When I was talking about the brawling, right? I remember this, talk about defining moments in your life, right? So I remember these guys came in and I was sparring them, and I don't know why, but I was just getting stuck in. And that wasn't my style. I don't know what I was doing, to be honest. What am I doing? So I sit back down and I have, next to Colin Jones, big boxer back in the day. He's my coach. What are you doing? Right. What do you mean? He goes, you're acting like you're fighting on Wine Street. What are you doing? So he's like, boxing, southpaw, move to the right. Come on now, do what we show you. Okay. And then I'm using my brain again, and then I tapped into that energy, and I just ran with it until now.
Yeah.
Really did.
Wow, okay. So that
Really did.
is a massively defining moment. So that's come as a young man in a sporting environment. That's lit a flame.
100%.
And it's stuck with
Like
you.
I said, with high energy, I think comes a bit of a temper as well, which I did have as a kid.
Yeah.
And it just got curbed straight away.
Yeah.
I talk about the discipline behind it. So now you can't have a fight on the school ground because, you lose your license.
Yeah.
So you're going, excuse me, no, I'm just said, how much can that transfer over into being into adulthood?
Yeah.
And that just really lit a light bulb, 100%. And I wanted to share that message, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
And
that's stuck with you throughout your career, and you've harnessed all that energy into a positive kind of mechanism. Because anyone I speak to, if you mentioned your name, they go, "Oh, he's such a good guy, such a nice guy.
Well, that's nice
he's
to
always
hear.
smiling. He's always full of energy." And maybe that's why we get on so well.
maybe.
Amazing. Okay, Connor, that's great. And what are the key areas for PTs when they start off? Is the obvious. How am I going to get out? How am I going to generate clients? So drawing on your experience and best practice, what 2 or 3 themes have stood out for you that have been really effective building your PT base?
Be approachable. Okay?
Nice.
So being the personal trainer, okay, you might be going through a lap pull down for the 7th time that day. Right? Okay, I get it, right? But you cannot sit there flicking through your phone, crossing your arms, and be like acting you don't want to be there.
Yeah.
You have got to show every client the same amount of energy as you possibly can give.
Yeah.
Even if it does require an extra coffee now and then. But that was my one point. Be approachable. You don't want to be the most jacked person on the gym floor and not have a personality. Because people will approach you if you're jacked, if you've got the personality. That's one point I say, but always be approachable.
Yeah.
Being loud has definitely helped me in this job. Definitely. Having that energy, being loud, projecting my voice well. I think, what I try and bring out of the learners when they're a little bit like, oh, okay, today we're going to do a deadlift. I'm like, come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now. Come on now. You in a gym with music. Let's go. I can't hear you. Come on. Be a bit louder. Come on. A bit more confidence. Come on. You've got this. That kind of thing, to be honest.
So your tone and elevating it.
Tone, elevation,
you
body
adopt
language. Act like you want to be there because you do want to be there. You love the gym. You're there as a personal trainer.
Yeah. So that's your kind of coaching philosophy to a degree then, isn't it? Is that, you're kind of commanding and giving the details that the client
One of my
needs.
clients said to me the day she decided she wanted to come with me because she heard me before she see me.
There's a level. Yeah, that's a good point. I can't imagine that. But I think that is a way of marketing yourself as a PT as well, isn't it? Because I've always been a strong advocate of running workshops and running tasters and experiences, and in the early days maybe you haven't got 40 clients, but you almost need to give the perception of a busy restaurant, because no one wants to eat in a quiet restaurant. So you're busy, you're active, you're around clients, you're interacting, and you've got to be giving of your time as well. You've got to have the mindset of, listen, I'm going to give a lot of my time, maybe for little reward in the early days, but eventually I'm going to have a bustling business.
So, I think we've all heard about the interactions. You make 100 interactions, you might get like 30 tasters, that might lead into, and I think there is a little bit of use to that.
Yeah.
And I think that in the beginning is more crucial. So at the beginning, giving your free time up is really crucial, 100%. And then obviously when the business is working for you and you're that busy PT, people see that you're that busy PT and you're thriving, and then you must know a thing or two, and when they get talking to you then and they can see that, for me, I think they do see that passion for being in the gym, to be honest, a lot of the time. And when I get them in for a consultation, it's usually as simple as that.
Yeah. But remaining approachable throughout.
100%.
You've always got the door open, haven't you?
Always got the door open.
And you are very giving of your time as well. So
what I think people go wrong when they actually, in the build-up of that as well, is they forget about their old clients and the chase for new clients as well. So it goes back to that quality, doesn't it? You forget about the people who've invested in you for weeks, months, years. I mean, I've got a client still that I remember showing them the photograph of Harper's first scan.
Yeah.
right? So you know what I mean? So I've got to, I can't say, oh, you know, to her, knock this person off, whatever, you know. I've got to look after her more, if anything. Because I remember seeing something years ago. If you look after the clients you have, you'll never have to look for clients again, type of thing, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's working smart, not hard, yeah?
Personally, this is my personal thing. I'm not saying it doesn't work for people. I don't like 10-week transformations. I don't think that, if it is just for the holiday photo, fine. Right, but for what I like for my preaching, for my clients, you know, usually their body fat is a bit more higher, that kind of thing, and just for the holiday photo, that would be what I say as well. If you be realistic with your clients as well. You know, yes, you're not going to have washboard 6-pack abs in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I know you've got an holiday coming up, but we can do what we can in 6 weeks. But we're probably looking at what you've just said for an actual year, maybe 2.
It can be frustrating as a fitness professional because you're often faced with that dilemma, aren't you? It's about your wants and needs, and
I think social media has played a massive part in that. You know, I think if you're in the gym, you're exposed to the top 10% of physiques in your area, and then when you go online, you're exposed to like the 1% that you never would have seen before all the time. If you're following that algorithm, you're seeing the top 1%ers of the world. Yeah. Athletes with the shredded 8-pack abs, you know, and all the time. And I think that when people come into the consultation, they've got that image for themselves in their head.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say not understanding the work that goes into it. People know they've got to work hard for it. But that person's 20 and hasn't got 3 kids. That, you know, and they're not running around for swimming, rugby, football, you know, and running a business themselves. A lot of people do these days as well. So, or 9 till 5. Yeah. They're literally in the gym doing this as a get-go. So use them as a role model, but for inspiration, but maybe just disconnect the fact that this person has got a totally different life to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
as a personal trainer, you've probably had it. I want to look like that. I have that every week, more or less.
It's very raw and valid insight, actually, and I think you are right to a degree there, Connor. I think social media has played a big part in terms of some of the, you know, psychological challenges we see in society now. But
comparison can be the thief of joy.
Yeah, and I think we've got the answers in our fitness, you know, in our sector. We've got all the answers and all the tools to support that. It's been fascinating insight today. It's been great kind of diving in on some of these aspects. We like to end the podcast.
It's at the end.
I know. It's gone quick, eh? We like to end the podcast by giving the guest the last word. Okay. So I'm, you know, knowing you and your family, Connor, you know, I know Gemma, your wife runs a successful business herself. You've got 2 young children. You're running a successful business. Any tips around managing a work-life balance to finish things off?
Okay, I've actually got something for this. You probably are a victim to this yourself, because I know I am, but separate the two if you can, right? Work is work, family is family time, right? I think a lot of the time when you're in work and you know you might be there not putting the kids to bed, you might think, oh, I should be home. And then when you're home, then you're thinking about work. So what I'm saying is, you know, you don't. What I'm saying is, when I'm spending time with the kids, the phone is left aside. I'm not, you know, I might go through a half an hour where I'm just chilling Jacks out or whatnot, where I'm going, right, sorry, half an hour I need here, you know, because I am running probably 60-70% of the business through my phone. So if you're not present with your kids, then you're going to be missing out.
Yeah.
You know, so if that makes sense. So what I would say is, you know, like when I do my camping stuff as well, it's often to areas on purpose where I don't have any phone signal. You know? So so it's tactical, you know. So like, right, I'll get back to these people on the Sunday and the Monday when I'm coming home. So because family time is important. It's a lot of compromise with me because she's just running her business as well. Mm-hmm. So we've both had times where we've gone, hang on now, I can take on a few more extra people. And you've gone, well, what about this, what about that, what about that? And you have got to kind of stay in that compromise 100%. Okay. Because you got to value. Because what I don't want to do is be a thriving PT, and then she misses out on what she loves doing, and vice versa.
Yeah, absolutely. So communication.
Lock
your phone away.
Lock your phone away. and a lot's of what time you win in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a wrestle. But listen, it's been great seeing how you've developed your brand, developed your business over the last few years. It's exciting to be part of that journey as well, Connor, with your academy side of it. So yeah, we'll keep in touch and.
Should have a Guinness hopefully soon.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it'd be rude not to.
Should have another one.
Appreciate your time. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much, mate. Cheers.
Legend.
How do you think I went?
Oh, look at that. Brilliant, mate. That was quality.